Before I got into my car accident back in 2008, I was, a highly professional young adult. Put myself through college and had a really great job, had the house and the cars and the family and the young kids and all of it. And I had just graduated with my bachelor's degree, and I'd taken the day off of work to go to my fourth interview with Edward Jones, which is why I switched my degree to finance. And my manager called a business meeting, so went to the meeting that morning, was coming back for the interview, and flipped an SUV on I-4 9 times. 9 times. Was ejected from the vehicle, airflown to ORMC, and was in a coma for 67 days. With 3 brain surgeries, spinal surgery, and a whole lot of broken bones all down my right side. Besides a couple ribs, I broke everything. So when I came out of the coma, was still in the hospital, and they started giving me, they were giving me really strong pain medication. They had me on very, very strong narcotics for my pain because I'm still in a lot of pain. When I woke up from my coma, I was in the hospital for 4 months. Came home from the hospital and they prescribed me very, very strong narcotics. I remember going to my first pain management appointment and discussing with the doctor my fears of becoming addicted to such medications. I don't really know when I crossed that line between pain management and addiction. It's such a blur. I've thought about it through the years of when that changed. About 2 years later, I finally went back to work, and I was a district manager for CVS. And I remember the first time I went a couple of days without taking pain meds and going through withdrawals and thinking I had the stomach flu because I had no idea what withdrawals were. I just always used to say, I don't have a pill problem, I have a pain management problem. And it went on like that for years. Through addiction, I lost my house, cars, everything that I had worked for, my kids. And opiates being my drug of choice, to that changing through the years. There was a circumstance one night where me and a good female friend of mine were sitting in a car, and she had never done opiates and I had never done cocaine. And we switched addictions in that car that night. She went off to carry on with a heroin addiction that ended up killing her. The opiate addiction was bad enough. But once that substance switched, it got a whole lot worse. Through getting clean and trying to stay clean, rebuilding life just enough to start feeling like a normal human again, and then burning it down all over again. I didn't feel like I deserved to be happy. I didn't feel like I deserved a life on the other side of it because of some of the things that I did while I was getting high. Me being able to finally get to a place where I could get and stay clean meant somebody very, very, very close to me having to die from the disease of addiction, having to lay down their life for me to get to a place where I could finally stay clean. At that time, I was 20 months clean. He passed away because, like so many addicts, he wanted to use one more time after a good amount of clean time. And he died the next morning. And after his funeral, I went back out and started using again, trying to kill myself with drugs. In a 3-week span, I OD'd 3 times. The last time that I had used inside a house in DeLand alone, and was found unconscious on a driveway by a woman taking her kids to school. And really just got to a point where my pain was so great that the drugs weren't working to take it away anymore, and I couldn't get dying right. So all that was really left to do was get clean because the drugs weren't working anymore. I went into addiction later in my life, and the version of me that went into the addiction was not the same version of me that came out the other side. The disease of addiction is the same across the board as far as the emotion and the desperation that goes into a person finally wanting to seek help from addiction. None of us come into recovery at a high point, but there is a reason that an individual feels like they have to have drugs on a daily basis to get through life. The desperation and the pain's the same, but every person's story differs. And what they go through out there in the streets is trauma. I started Foundations to Freedom so that anyone suffering with substance use disorder could find the services that they need to rebuild their lives, become a productive member of society, and gain freedom from the disease of addiction.